everybody, Patty Ann here. Remember yesterday when I showed you how to make this super fun design, adding fringe to it? Today I'm going to show you another one that I think is super cute. This is a little bit less expensive of a design. I'll have it linked for you down below. I'm not affiliated with them, but it turns out like this. Isn't this adorable? Look at that little ballerina. So I'm going to teach you how to make that fringe for her. And today's video is also going to show you something else that you may not be aware of. Well, actually 2 tips. So stay tuned and let's get busy. Okay, here we are in Embrilliance. This is Embrilliance Essentials. And on the right here, I have the way that the little bunny comes in automatically. She is the applique, and these are the applique stitches that go around her skirt. But as you know, I want her skirt to be the cute little fringe stuff. So I'm going to change her to be like the gal on the left with the little fringe, right? So I'll get rid of this one right now, for now. And we have this one, and we notice if we come up here in the objects panel, I can click on this plus sign and it opens up everything that makes this little cute little adorable bunny up. All these things. Well, notice I have to scroll down to see them all. And I'm not in the mood to be doing a lot of scrolling, so I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but you can come over here. There's a little push pin right here, and it says auto hide when I go over it. So when I click on that, it auto hid it. Now you may be wondering, where in the world did it go? No problem. It's right up here. And I can do this and see it, or I can push the little pin again and it pops back down into place. But I want it out of my road for right now. All right. So what we need to do is we want to get rid of this satin stitch around this skirt. So the first thing I would probably try to do is just to go click on it and come up here to edit and say ungroup all and see if by any chance I can get just her skirt. Well, if you look over here in the layers panel, check it out. When I click on the pink part that is her skirt, it's also her shoes. And I can't get those apart in any way. However, there's a real easy way to do it here. So all you have to do is to come up to the stitch simulator right here, and it opens it up right like this. I'm going to take this little box right here and I'm going to drag it all the way across until it gets to the pink part. Now notice it's doing her shoes first, her ballet slippers, and her other ballet slipper. Then it's going to start doing around her skirt, which I don't want, her tutu. So if we scroll way in, and we can actually watch this by going step by step by hitting this, and you can see it if I click on this one at a time, doing stitch by stitch. And I can move it ahead just a little bit faster. There we go. Because I want it to end exactly where I need it to end, which is as soon as it pops up to her skirt, which it did just right there, I'm going to go back one. Well, it actually went more than one. Let's see, I got to go back a couple. There we go. And now it's back here at the very end here. So that's exactly what I want. Now, right at this point, I'm going to put a stop. Okay, I'm going to stop it and I'm going to change the color. To add a stop, you just simply come up here where there's a stop sign, click on that, and it opens up the thread color. I'm going to change the thread color to something different, something really different, I guess, so we can really see. And I'll change it to this green, and I'll say okay. So now you can see that her skirt is now that green, or her tutu. Remember though, I don't want her tutu. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use it temporarily. And I'll show you how. I'm going to put that fringe on there again, just like I had shown you yesterday. So this is when you need StitchArtist Level 2. Okay, so far I just used Embrilliance Essentials. Now I need StitchArtist Level 2. I click on this to open up my creation or create tools. And then I come to this one right here that says draw a column with left and right alternating inputs. So I'm going to click on that to select it. I'm just going to come right up here to her waistline and start clicking like this and this. And remember, you go, and I'm going to go from the outside, no, from the inside to the outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, just like we had done yesterday. Inside, outside, inside. So I'm actually making it come down to where it showed the satin stitch ended. And I don't really need to make those little scallops because they really won't show up that much, I don't think. Okay, once I'm done, all I'll do is hit enter on my keyboard, and that makes her little skirt or her little tutu. Now I can go in here and double click and make another little node there or whatever and pull it out so that it comes out a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. I might drag the white. These white ones are the ones that drag it out. Okay, the yellow ones change the inclination. Okay, so let's go back now again to this part, because what we want to do now is we want to find this skirt, and I'm simply going to hit delete on my keyboard. And I've got to find this black outline because that's the placement stitch. So I don't want the placement stitch either. So I can click on it. Let's see. That looks like that's it. So I'll delete it. And there should be one more placement stitch. That's it there. Remember, there's the placement, then there's the tack down. So that's exactly what we want there. And you know what, though? I see one more under there still. Oh, that was her legs. Okay, that's fine. We need her legs. As a matter of fact, that would be helpful for me because I can see that maybe I want to drag this down a little bit more to make sure it covers that part of her legs. Okay, that looks terrific. Okay, and then I can change the color of this if I want to by coming over here. Oh, this is when I need to open the properties again. The properties, I can unpin it. So we have her skirt selected. And remember yesterday, the tricky part, the most important part that you do in StitchArtist 2 is to do the fringe left or fringe right. I think fringe left is going to be the right one. So I'm going to check that. But I'm also going to change the color of this to maybe a pink and say okay. All right. So let's see how this is going to stitch out. Remember, I want the final stitching to be up here to hold all of the loops of the fringe in place. I don't want it down here because this would be loose and it would fringe this way. So I want my final stitching to be here. So let's go back up to the stitch simulator, and I'm going to go forward a bit. Okay, here we go to her pink shoes. And there's our blue shirt. And then the second pink. Oh, the second pink, I'm sorry, is her ears. And then we're going to come down here to the blue and the black. And then the final part's going to be her skirt. And we've got to look and see now, where does that final line of stitching, 2 lines actually, stitch? All right, right at the top, which is exactly what we want. So let's go stitch it out. Okay, as you can see, I have layered my fabric and I have cutaway stabilizer in the back, medium. And I'm going to start. Notice up here you can see that I'm on step number 1 out of 15. It's going to stitch the placement for the rabbit body. So I've put my presser foot down and I'll just press go. I did use Material Magic on my fabric, and I'm going to use it on my applique pieces as well. This is the product that I like to use when I'm doing applique. It makes my fabric nice and firm. After I wet it, then I simply iron it till it's dry, and it gives it a nice body. What I'm using is Kona cotton, and you can see it's usually pretty flimsy, but after I do the Tiro Magic, it's almost like it's paper. So I'm just going to place that now over top like this and start stitching. Press our foot down again and stitch. I can stop it right here if I'd like to and take, oops, you can't quite see, take my snips, just snip it up like that, and continue. Okay, that has finished stitching. So I'll lift up my presser foot, get under here, take this out. I'd have to cut this thread. And then, if you'll look down here, what I'm going to do next is use my little snip tools. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just take these little snip tools and snip what I need off. And sometimes I like to use this little lamp that I have because it gives me a little bit more light to see. Okay, then I'm just going to snip this. And I like to use these little snippers. Okay, step number 3 is the placement stitch for the bow. Put down the presser foot and press go. Then I'll put the bow fabric on. And once again, take this out and trim around the bow. Next up comes the placement stitch for the shirt. Then I'll put the shirt fabric on there. It'll stitch around again, which is the tack down stitch, and then I will trim around it as I had done before. Next up comes the satin stitch for the bunny. Press her foot down and go. Step number 8 is her adorable little shoes, or are her adorable little shoes. I've chosen a really pretty pink for this. Step number 9 is the satin stitch around her shirt. I'm using the same pink. Stitch number 10 will be the satin stitch around the head and the ears. And by the way, don't forget, I do have a link to Embrilliance down below. So if you're thinking of upgrading to StitchArtist 2 or just trying out Embrilliance Essentials or anything, I really appreciate it if you use my link. I get a little teeny tiny bit of a commission, and it helps me to be able to keep PattyAnnesPlace going. So just a little plug there. Thanks. Step number 11 is the inside of her ears, and I decided to use a little bit of a paler pink thread. step number 12 is the satin stitch around her bow, and I've gone back to the same color I used for her outline of her shirt and for her ballet slippers. Step number 13 is for her facial features, her mouth, her whiskers, her eyes and eyelashes. I'm using black, but I'm wondering if I should be using maybe a charcoal gray or something. I don't know if black will be too stark, but here we go. Okay, step number 14 is her little button nose. And then after that will come the part we've all been hoping for or waiting for, fringe, tutu. Okay, this is step number 15, the fringe. This is going to take a minute or two. And I'm wondering if on her legs, since I didn't put an extra satin stitch, if I should put a little bit of fray check. I should put a little bit of fray check on that. We'll see. Okay, our precious little bunny has finally finished stitching out. I'm going to turn her over to the back and begin cutting the bobbin threads, which are the white ones here. So I'm just snipping through these. There we go. Probably need some different scissors. These seem to be sticking. Let me get a different pair. Here we go. Try these. Okay, and just as I had done yesterday, I'll flip her back over like this, and then I'll get that little tool. Okay, here's the little tool I use. It's just a little brush that came with my brother PE, and I just kind of start lifting this up, the fringe up and out. And it pops right out. So I'll go back and check that out. Isn't that adorable? Scroll back out so you can see. Isn't she cute? Look how cute. Oh my gosh. And so easy to do. Again, if you want to upgrade to your StitchArtist Level 2, please use my link down below. Or if you're just getting into Embrilliance, I really appreciate it. And I hope you have fun making this little girl. Thanks again. Don't forget to subscribe and share. I really appreciate it. And leave comments. Love comments. All right. Thanks again. Bye-bye.